Hey guys, hope you had a great weekend. Mike's actually out of the office today, so I'm doing the call. Missy's actually on vacation as well, so it's Tricia and I in the office this week. Um, Everybody at ECA is there, Jerry's there, Jeff's there, everybody's there, but it's just Tricia and I in the office this week. I don't think that'll change anything as far as you guys are concerned, but just to let you know. And we will be closing. It's Labor Day weekend coming up, so I hope everybody has plans and is looking forward to that. I know we are. We're actually closing the office at noon on Friday. So we're all here Monday through Thursday, and then Friday we'll be here 8:30 Central to noon, but at noon we will close the office. We will be still having the Friday GOTS call, and so plan on that, or at least listening to the recording. But we will be closing the office at noon. A couple other things too. If you were on the Friday call last week, you know we talked about taxes and how to present them in the 21-point checklist and RMDs, and there were a lot of you on the call. But if you missed it, do tune back and listen to the recording at some point, because I think that's a thing that confuses people. And so hopefully that call will help clarify things and get you more comfortable with taxes, because as we talked about, it's something that you're going to have to start talking about more and more going forward. The other thing is, if you were on Friday's call, you know we went till 11. It was a full hour, and so today I'm going to try and let you go a little bit early. We've been having great success with the Eye-to-Eye program, and so if you're doing Eye-to-Eye, super. If you're not, the thing I want you to consider is that, remember, this is a program that's guaranteed to get you in front of people, and I think that's what makes it a lot different. You're guaranteed to get in front of people, and not only are you guaranteed to get in front of people, nearly all of these people have money, $100,000 in assets or more. Not to say that all of them have money, but nearly all of them do, and even when people are doing a mailing and they run into somebody who doesn't have money, most of the people they run into have a lot more than $100,000, so that combined, people are getting in front of a total of $1 million or more in investable assets. The thing I wanted to remind you is that when you get these appointments, take a look at that list and then mentally make a note that everybody on that list should get a newsletter at some point or another. So we talked about this on a previous call, but I just want to remind you, because I think not everybody's getting a newsletter. So what I mean by that is you have this list of, say, 10, 11 people that have made appointments to see you, and let's say 2 of them no-show. So the 2 that no-show should get a newsletter with a handwritten note that says, hey, sorry I missed you. You weren't able to make the appointment. Here's something that I normally send to clients. Thought you might like it as well. Hopefully your schedule will clear up and we'll be able to get together soon. Something like that. That's for the no-shows. If they do show up, they should get a newsletter after that appointment saying something like, with a handwritten note saying something like, hey, really enjoyed our talk today. Looking forward to meeting with you and doing the 21-point checklist with you, or hey, really enjoyed our talk today. You know, it sounds like you're not ready to go forward, but just thought I'd give you this. This is something I send my clients, and you know, if anything changes, I'd love to get back together with you and talk some more. Something like that. But the point is, everybody gets a newsletter. Everybody gets some sort of a newsletter with a handwritten note. And I know Mike even put the verbiage, so I'm kind of free-forming it there, winging it on the verbiage, but it's spelled out for you in the previous call. So remember to send a newsletter with a handwritten note to everybody on that list of people that are supposed to come and see you for the Eye-to-Eye. And again, the great thing about the Eye-to-Eye, the thing that makes it so different and unique in the industry, is the guarantee. You're guaranteed to get in front of people with money. And I can't tell you how many people I talk to that tell me, hey, my only problem is I need to get in front of more people, better people, people with money, and if I could just do that, I'd be on my way. And so if that's what you're looking for, if you really just need more people that have money, eye to eye is literally guaranteed to do that for you. So if you haven't looked at eye to eye, I would really encourage you to look at eye to eye, because it's the only program out there that's guaranteed to get you in front of people that have money. And it's the only one where the guarantee is if you don't get in front of those people, you get your money back. So let's talk about today's topic. And the first thing I always like to do is start with a question. So let me ask you guys this. What makes 5Q different? So think about that for a minute, and let's see some answers. What is it that makes 5Q different from all the other meeting systems or the processes that are out there? Honest training, I appreciate that. The 21, Dale says. Hands-on and real coaching. Interviewing technique, Mike, yep, best training. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with all of that. And then we're going to talk about how the training kind of works into the picture. But really, I think Tony and Dale and even to a certain extent Michael, the 21. It's really the 21. Because if you look at all the other processes that are out there, or all the other things that you could be doing, and you've all done them, I mean, probably the 5Q process is the first thing that's been really, truly different. I'm going to guess that for most people, when they start out in the business, or if they come to us from someplace else, what they're really doing is some version of this. They're running a couple of meetings, and the first meeting is a fact find, where we try to uncover some pain. And you know what I mean by uncover pain. We're trying to get them to acknowledge that, you know, not everything's really ideal. So that's meeting number one. A fact find, try to uncover some pain. Meeting number two is fleshing out the problems, kind of growing the pain that we discovered in meeting number one and providing solutions. So it's a two-meeting process. It's a fact find, uncovering some pain, setting another meeting where we kind of flesh out the problems and we provide some solutions. Now here's the thing, when you run a system like that, there are a couple of hurdles that you have to overcome, and you're familiar with the hurdles. You're all good at these things. If you run a system where the first meeting is a fact find, where you uncover pain, and the second meeting is where you kind of flesh out the problems and provide solutions, well, the first problem is whatever the pain is, or whatever the problem is that you identify, it has to be big enough to get them to act. And so we have to find bigger and bigger problems, and as we go through and get better at these kinds of systems, for lack of a better way of putting it, we get good at making mountains out of molehills. We try and tell people that, I know you think this is a little problem, but it's really a big problem, and so, yeah, you need a solution. So that's the one hurdle. The second hurdle is, if you're saying, well, I've got the solution for all of that, you kind of have to have an airtight, or what I would call a no-brainer solution, something that when you look at it, it's obvious that you should just do it. And so when you run a system like that, a couple things you get good at is making mountains out of molehills. And the other thing that you get good at is spending your time kind of trolling the ocean of products that are out there. You're always talking to FMOs, looking for the latest, greatest product, and hoping to be on the cutting edge of something, because really that's the only edge that you have, is making the products or the problems big enough, and making the products having something that nobody else has, a product that's new on the scene that only you have or nobody else is aware of yet. And so the question becomes, well, does that work? And if we're being honest, and I think it's important to be honest, I think we would say, yeah, I mean, kind of. I think if you've been on this call and you've been doing that prior to coming here, you've probably been doing it for a long time, you made money. That's the truth, you made money. It does kind of work. At the very least, it works to pay the bills. But more and more, I hear advisors tell me that it's getting harder and harder for them to make the money that they used to make. And I hear that a lot. I used to make good money, or I used to do this and I used to do that. It's just that it's kind of fallen off, so I'm looking for that thing to kind of get me back to where I was. And so I think we can all agree that running that 2-meeting process works. But does it work like it used to? No. Not if you're not making the money that you used to make or not seeing the people that you used to see. So it may still work, but it doesn't work like it used to. And kind of what we want to spend the rest of the time this morning doing is kind of digging down and asking ourselves the question, why not? Why doesn't it work like it used to? So I think you may recognize these logos. Let me ask you this. The first one on the left, Expedia, Trivago, TrueCar. TrueCar is kind of new on the scenes. I'm sure a lot of you have seen the commercials. If you haven't, it's just like the other three, Expedia, Trivago, TrueCar. They're all the same thing. And so what are they? What do they have in common? So let's see some answers to that. What are these things and what do they have in common? Yep, search the price, things for DIYers. You're exactly right, everybody's getting it. They're searches. They're way to shop prices. At the end of the day, what they really are search engines. Expedia, it's a search engine. It's a way to search all the different the flights that are out there and find the cheapest. Trivago, it's a search engine. It's a way to look at all the hotel rooms that are out there and find the cheapest. TrueCar, it's a search engine. It's a way to look at all the cars that have been sold in your area over the past, I don't know, however many days to find out what would be a good price or a fair price for you to pay for the car that you're looking at where you're at right now. They're search engines. And so what was the original search engine that everybody kind of takes for granted today? There's the granddaddy of them all, the one that started it all. Yeah, that's it, Brad. It's Google. Google's the original search engine, and we kind of take it for granted today. It's even a verb. We Google things. It's Google. And what a lot of people would argue is that Google in many ways changed the world. And if I'm, being fair and being honest, and I look out at the world that I see today as opposed to the world that I saw maybe 20 or 30 years ago, I'm not sure that Google changed the world. Computers certainly changed the world. Google is a part of that, but here's what I would say. And here's the thing that affects us, and the thing that we really have to be we have to really think about and have to be honest with ourselves about. Google may not have changed the world, but I'm going to argue that Google fundamentally changed people. Whether or not it changed the world, it certainly changed people, because we can price check and fact check and do all of that with the click of a button. And you see it all the time. If you walk into Best Buy and somebody's looking at a television, I guarantee you they'll look at that television, they'll look at the one next to it, and then they'll look down at their phone. What are they doing with their phone? What are they looking at? The TVs are right there on the wall in front of them. Why are they looking at their phone? Yeah, they're comparing price. Comparing prices where? To what? Other stores? Amazon? And you think it's just a few people that do that, or is it everybody that does that? I'm thinking about buying a car. What's the first thing I do before I even go to the car lot? Get on my phone. I get on my computer. I look and see, what are other people saying about this car? What are other people paying for this car? Because it gives me an idea. It arms me with ammunition. And so we're all different now. We didn't used to do that, but we do that now. We all do it. And we see other people doing it. And so we don't have to take anybody's word for anything anymore. And everybody thinks about everything now. If you're like me, I have to check my phone and my computer before I decide to do anything. And my wife is the same way. And everybody I know does that too. And computers and phones are so lightning fast these days that it's really not a hassle. It's easy. I think anybody that doesn't do it is stupid, quite frankly. So what's happened is Google turned everybody into tire kickers. And if you don't believe me, ask the people in the airline industry. If you don't believe me, ask the people in the hotel business. If you don't believe me, ask the people that sell cars. It's a different world today. People have changed. And so here's what that means to us fundamentally as we're trying to grow our businesses. In the past, we could just do a fact find, maybe uncover some pain, and then we would just flesh out these problems and we would show people solutions. And in that world, all we had to do was come up with bigger and bigger problems. In that world, all we had to do was show them better and better solutions. I mean, we could see that the world was moving faster, so the problems have to get bigger, the solutions have to get better, and then 5 years later the problems have to get even bigger and the solutions have to get even better, and then bigger and better, bigger and better, bigger and better, but we were all familiar with that. But what if, just what if, people are the problem? What if the hurdle isn't we have to make mountains out of molehills? What if the hurdle no longer is, well, we have to find better and better solutions? What if the hurdle now is people, the fact that people are different? Well, if people are different, and I'm just asking you to just assume that for the time being, then what we need are better people. So it turns out that all those people that say, oh, we just have to have better marketing, they were right after all, right? We just need marketing that will find those better people. Is that true? Well, maybe. I guess it just depends on what you mean by better people. Because if you mean people who aren't skeptical, if you mean people who are more trusting, if you mean people who don't need to hop on their phones and get on their computers to check on everything before they decide something, if what you need are people who won't fact check everything, won't question everything you say, won't shop, then you might have a big problem. You might have a huge problem, because if you ask an airline rep or a hotel manager or a car dealer if those people exist, what do you think they're going to tell you? What do you think the airline people or the hotel people or the car people are going to tell you? No. You're right. They're going to tell you no. Those people don't exist. Why do all the airlines put all their flights on Expedia? Why do all the hotel managers put their rooms on Trivago? Why do all the car dealers put their cars and their sales prices on TrueCar? Why don't they just say, no, we're not going to participate in that? Because they know if you can't beat them, join them. We can't go back to a time when people won't search on their computer. We can't go back in time to a place where people will just believe everything we say. We can't go back in time where people don't feel like if they look hard enough, they won't find a better deal. That ship sailed. It's gone. And so if we want to stay in business, we're going to have to be part of the new reality. We're going to have to put our flights on Expedia. We're going to have to put our rooms on Trivago. We're going to have to put our cars on TrueCar. Because those people, they don't exist anymore. See, marketing is the solution only if Those people exist. I mean, running out and trying to find better people will only work if there's such a thing as better people. And if by better we mean people that are trusting and not skeptical and don't need to get on their phones or computers or talk to their sons and daughters or friends and neighbors before they make a decision, then you've got a big, big problem, because Google made those people extinct. They don't exist in the wild anymore. And so it's kind of a bad news, good news. The bad news is it's a fool's errand to try and find those people. You'll spend a lot. Do they exist? Yeah, they exist. I mean, if you spend enough time and you spend enough money, you'll find one or two, but that's the only way you're going to find them. You're going to have to spend a lot of time and you're going to have to spend a lot of money, and even then, all you're going to do is find the one or two that are going to pay for your marketing so you can do it all over again. You're not going to get ahead that way. So that's the bad news. Those people, for the most part, they don't exist. It's like finding a shooting star. Can I go outside and look in the sky and see a shooting star anytime I want? No. But if I stand there long enough for enough nights, will I possibly see one? Yeah. And that's what you've got to do with your marketing. If that's what you're basing your business on, you got to spend a lot of time. You got to spend a lot of nights out there and spend a lot of money to find that one or two shooting stars. And here's the good news. There are a lot of other stars in the sky. It's just that they're skeptical. It's just that they're tire kickers. But what if you could take tire kickers and turn them into people who wanted to do something with you, who weren't skeptical, who wanted to do something with you without even having to get on their computers or their phones to do anything? See, the great thing is, while you can't find those people, you can manufacture them. You can make them. You can take the stars in the sky and make them into shooting stars if you know how. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what makes 5Q different. Because if you think about it, do we do a fact find? Yeah, we do a fact find. Now, we don't try and uncover pain at the fact find, but just like all the other things that are out there, yeah, we do a fact find too. Do we show solutions? Are we always looking for better solutions and better ways to present them? Yeah, we do that too. So our fact find isn't any different than any other fact find. And quite frankly, our solutions aren't any different than any other solutions. Now, I like to think we leverage psychology, we leverage motivational interviewing to present those solutions in a way that they tell us that that's the best solution for them that's out there. But in every other respect, we're just like everybody else, except for that meeting that we sandwich between those things. Sandwiched between the fact find and the solution is another meeting. It's the 21-point checklist meeting. Because I know that whatever marketing I do, all it's going to bring me are tire kickers. How do I know that? Because that's all that's out there. That's what's out there. Ask the airline reps. Ask the hotel people. Ask the car salespeople. Ask anybody in any other industry, and they'll tell you that's all that's out there. So when I market, guess what? Guess who I'm getting in front of? I'm getting in front of the same people they're getting in front of, because that's all that's out there. The tire kickers. So before I show them a solution, I'm going to have to do something that's going to fundamentally change them. That's going to turn them from a tire kicker into somebody who wants to do something. And that's what this meeting is. The 21-point checklist is a factory that manufactures better people. You can't market to get better people. So now we have to have a meeting that will take the skeptical people and make them into the better people that I want them to be. See, Google changed the way people think, but it didn't change the way people feel. We still value things like honesty and integrity. And you've heard us talk a lot that we're in something called the post-trust era. People don't trust anybody or anything anymore. They only trust themselves. And the 21-point checklist is the only thing that's out there in this industry that leverages that. So consider for a minute, if you look at some of the topics on that list, titling, beneficiaries, unnecessary fees, risk-reward issues, diversification. Now at first, it seems like I'm doing what everybody else is doing, is saying, hey, look at all these problems. It sounds like I'm doing what everybody else is doing, what we used to do. Hey, look at all these problems. And you know what? These aren't little problems. You might think they're little, but they're actually big. So big that they could jump out of the grass and bite you in the butt. And if I used it that way, I wouldn't have any more success than I had doing the 2-meeting process, because that's what I was doing there. In fact, I might have had more success there because at least I was able to get to it quicker. But here, I'm not using them those ways. If you're doing this meeting right, and here's the light bulb that goes off. People always want to know, what are the really successful people doing? Guys, they're doing the exact same marketing that you're doing. They're getting in front of the exact same people that you're getting in front of. The difference between the people that are having a ton of success with this and the people that aren't is they're doing the 21-point checklist and they're doing it right. They're not just saying, hey, your titling is a problem, your beneficiaries are a problem, your fees are a problem, your risk is a problem, your diversification is a problem. No, what they're doing is they're saying, hey, your titling is a problem, but I don't want you to worry about that. That's easy to fix. We'll take care of that. Anybody can take care of that for you. I'll take care of that for you. Here's what I'm worried about. Why didn't they tell you that? People say, I don't know. But the conversation ends with them saying, yeah, they didn't give me that form because they knew they wanted to keep the account longer so that they could make money for themselves. They care more about themselves than they care about me. It's a conversation where I say, hey, let's talk about your beneficiaries, but you know what? I see some problems, but I don't want you to worry about those problems. Anybody can fix those. I'll fix that for you. But anybody could fix it. What I'm worried about is, why did we end up in this place where they're broken? And everybody says, I don't know. But we take them from there to, well, in all fairness, they did get some things right. But the things they got right help who? Well, they help them. The things they got wrong only hurt who? Well, they only hurt us. So what do they care about? Well, they care about the things that help them, but they don't care about the things that might hurt us. They care more about themselves than me. Notice that's the second time they've said that. Fees. We all love to compete on fees. And we compete on fees too. We tell people, hey, the fees, you're paying some fees that are unnecessary, but I don't want you to worry about that. We can get those lowered. Anybody can lower those for you. I can lower those for you. The guy that you have can lower those for you. So I don't want you to worry about that. What I'm worried about is, why didn't they at least show you this? And everybody says, I don't know. And we take them, if you're doing it right, we take them from I don't know to, yeah, they were afraid if I saw that I wouldn't work with them, and all they really care about is keeping me as a client so that they can make money, not me. They care more about themselves than they do about me. That's the third time they've said that. When we talk about risk-reward, we show them that they might be taking more risk or more risk than the reward would justify. But we tell them, hey, don't worry about that. That's easy to fix. Anybody can fix that for you. I can fix that for you. He can fix that for you. Don't worry about that. What has me concerned is, why wouldn't they have shown you this? And everybody says, I don't know. But if you're doing it right, it ends with them saying, yeah, they were afraid if I saw this, I might leave them. And they didn't want me to leave because that's how they make money, and that's all they really care about is making money for themselves. They don't care about me. What? They said it again? Diversification. We show them that you're not really diversified. All of these investments are alike. But I don't want you to worry about that. That's not the issue, because anybody can fix that for you. I can fix that for you. The guy that you have can fix that for you. So please don't be concerned about that. What concerns me, though, is why wouldn't they have at least shown you this? And everybody says, I don't know. But if you're doing it right, you're taking them from there to, they want me to need them. They want me to think that I can't do this without them. Because if I thought that, then I might leave them, and they don't want me to leave them because they want to keep me so that they can continue to make money off me. Do you see the pattern? Over and over and over, they keep saying, I don't know why they didn't do the titling right, but it's possible that they might have been doing it because they wanted to keep the account longer and make more money for themselves. They care more about themselves than me. I don't know why they didn't get the beneficiaries right, but I know that they got the things right that affect their paychecks, but they didn't get the thing right that affects me and my family. I think they care more about themselves than they care about me. I don't know why he didn't show us all of the fees, but I guess it's because he was afraid that if I saw it, I wouldn't work with him, and if I don't work with him, he doesn't make the money, and that's what he really cares about. He cares more about himself than me. I don't know why he didn't show me the risk graph, but I guess as I think about it, it's probably because he was afraid if I saw it that I would leave him, and then he wouldn't make the money. And all he really cares about is making money for himself. He cares more about himself than me. I don't know why he didn't go through the diversification with us, but I guess he was afraid that I might think that I don't need him, that I might try and do this on my own, and then he wouldn't make any money off me. I guess he cares more about himself than me. Do you guys hear the pattern? It's important that you hear the pattern, because I guarantee you the people hear the pattern too, and that's why they leave. They don't leave to get their titling fixed. They don't leave to correct a beneficiary form. They don't leave to lower their fees. You might actually think that they would, but they don't. Sometimes they do, some of you are thinking. Sometimes they do. Yeah, sometimes they do. 1 out of 10. Guess what they do the other 9 out of 10 times? They go back to their guy and they say, hey, we met with Jeff and he says our fees are high, and if you don't lower these, I'm afraid we're just going to have to move these accounts. And guess what the guy says? I'll fix that for you. I'll lower them. Don't worry. And then you can't get a hold of them anymore. You leave a message after message after message, wondering why they won't call you back. That's why. No one's going to leave to lower their risk. They're going to go back to their guy and say, hey, my risk is, I don't want these anymore. I want something less risky. And guess what he says? No problem. Diversification. No one's going to leave their guy because they're not diversified. They're going to go back to their guy and say, you know what? We want different investments, ones that are more diversified. And guess what he says? No problem. No one will leave their guy for anything on this list. And unfortunately, that's a tough habit to break, because what a lot of you do when you first come on is you look at this list and you say, sweet, a better way to make mountains out of molehills. Just what I've been looking for. And when it doesn't work, you come back and you say, I did what you said and it didn't work. Did we tell you to make mountains out of molehills? No. We told you that's not going to work. So you didn't do what we said. See, what we told you to do is get them to say in their own words, in titling, he's looking out for himself, but not me. With beneficiaries, he's looking out for himself, not me. With tax savings, they don't care about me, they only care about themselves. With fees, they're looking out for themselves, not me. With interest rate volatility, they're looking out for themselves, not me. With asset weighting, they're looking out for themselves, not me. With manager tenure, they're looking out for themselves, not me. With turnover costs, they're looking out for themselves, not me. With preferred list, they're looking out for themselves, not me. With risk reward, they're looking out for themselves, not me. With diversification, they're looking out for themselves, not me. And I know you guys are thinking, okay, I get it, but then I listen to a tape and I think, if you get it, why are you not even getting them to say it once? We gave you 21 things. We're giving you 21 at-bats. We're asking you to get them to say it 4 or 5 times. Get them to say it. If you can get them to say it once, I can help you to get them to say it twice. And I can help you to get them to say it 3 times and 4 times and 5 times. But unfortunately, that first step has to be you willing to try. If you can throw a 3-yard pass, I can teach you to throw a 5-yard pass and a 7-yard pass and a 12-yard pass and a 20-yard pass and a 40-yard pass. But if you're scared and all you ever do is throw the ball out of bounds and throw it away, some of it's on you. But we're not really here to talk about that. I guess what we're really here to talk about, I've kind of digressed, is the fact that you have something that will fundamentally change people. It will change them because they've changed the way they think, but they haven't changed the way they feel. How do you think people feel when they find out 4, 5, 7, 9, 21 times that their guy cares about themselves more than they care about them? And if they say that 3 or 4 or 5 times in the meeting, then when you ask them at the end, what do they want to do? They say, I want to leave that guy. Why? Because he cares more about himself than me. But if they don't say that 3, 4, or 5 times in the meeting, they're not just going to magically jump to that at the end. And if they say that in their own words, they are going to move to you. Here, let's look at this from another angle. Consider this. Imagine that someone comes to you from an eye-to-eye mailing, and they have $500,000 in assets, but they're in their late 50s, and they're not sure that they can retire. They aren't collecting Social Security yet, and so that's one of the questions they have. How do I maximize my Social Security? But even if they maximize their Social Security, their thinking is they'll need at least another $28,000 from savings each and every year to supplement their income. So let me ask you this, and let's see some answers. Would this be a good prospect? Is this a good prospect? Somebody with $500,000 needing maybe $28,000 a year for life. So I'm getting unanimous yes. So you're absolutely right. This is a great prospect. This is exactly the kind of person that we're looking for. But there's a glaring problem. Do you see it? What's the glaring problem? Let's see if you can see the problem with this client. What's the glaring problem? Think about it. Well, here's the glaring problem, and this is, and you guys are the answers are coming in faster than I can read them, so you might be getting it, but you might not. Everybody's kind of around the edge of it, but nobody's actually saying it. Here's the glaring problem. This is totally doable with or without you. $500,000, $28,000 a year. That's just a little over 5%. This is totally doable. That's why we love this client. We'll be able to help them. So will everybody else they talk to. Everybody can help them. Everybody wants a client like this. Everybody can help a client like this. And if you show a client like this how to maximize their Social Security and withdraw $28,000 a year from their savings and not run out of money in their lifetime, what will they do? What will they do? Here's the problem. There's a lot of different answers to that. But it's gut check time. Because if you answered that they will work with you, then guess what? I know one of two things about you. If you said that they'll work with you, one of two things is true about you. One is, that could be true of you, is you're rich. Because you're just showing people that you can do it, and they're doing it. And so you're rich. And if you're not rich, I have the solution for you. It's eye to eye. Because that's a guaranteed path to getting in front of people like this. So you're rich, or you have a way to get rich before the end of the year. So if you're not rich, it's because it hasn't worked. And not only has that not worked to just show them the solution, the real problem I fear is that you don't see the new reality. There's a new reality out there. And we can argue about whether or not the new reality is here, but the one thing for certain is it's coming. It's coming. And it's been coming for a long time. Here, I'll show you. I remember when we first started doing coaching, people were all sad because there was this big crackdown on free lunch seminars. Everybody was bad-mouthing free lunch seminars. Oh, whoa, what are we going to do? And then we realized that's a stupid thing to cry about because we got bigger problems. The SEC is coming out with this proposed rule 151A where they want to turn these FIAs into securities. But we beat that back, and now we have the DOL. And we're all wringing our hands wondering, what are we going to do with the DOL? And here's the thing. You can see back in the day when they were cracking down on free lunch seminars that things were moving in this direction. We won the free lunch seminar war, but they didn't quit. The universe didn't quit. Came up with 151A. And we won the 151A war, but the universe didn't quit. The universe came up with DOL. And now the universe has its first victory, and we'll figure out a way to get around the DOL, and not get around it, but to adapt to it, to adapt to the new reality. Because one way or another, that's the future. More skepticism, less trusting, more regulation. That's the new reality. It's not going to be so simple to do a fact find and uncover some pain and then make a mountain out of a molehill and show people a solution. That's gone. That's over. If it's not dead, it's on its way to being dead. The universe is making sure of that. And the problem is, the new reality is here whether you see it or not. It's here whether you realize it or not. It's here whether you acknowledge it or not. It doesn't need you to see it or believe it for it to already be here or to already be coming. You either see it and you'll adapt, or you won't and you'll die. And if it hasn't arrived, you'll know that it's arriving or that it's well on its way if some of these things are true. If you can't get as many people in your office as you used to, it's because we're dealing with a new reality. If none of the people who do come to meet with you will come back after meeting with you a couple of times, the new reality is here. If they won't call you back when you try and follow up with them, if they just block all your phone calls and won't return your emails, the new reality is here or nearly here. If you feel like all the people that you're seeing are tire kickers or plate lickers who just want to steal your information, it's because the new reality has arrived or arriving. If you said any of those things are true for you, then guess why that's happening? Because the new reality is here or it's nearly here. It's adapt or die time. And I'm not trying to say that if you don't adapt to the new reality, you're out of the business in January. No, that's not true. Or it's not even true that you're out of the business in April or that you're out of the business in 2017. You can hang on a good long time. The bigger your book of business, the longer you can hang on, because it'll happen gradually. You'll just get fewer and fewer clients, and the clients that you do have will have less and less to, you won't be able to go back and mine them anymore, and eventually you'll just fade away. But it'll happen if you don't adapt. It might happen slow if you have a big practice. It'll happen quick if you have a small practice, but it will happen. If you don't adapt, you will be left behind. I don't want this to be a total downer, because here's the good news. If you're on this call, you weren't meant to be left behind. You're not meant to be left behind if you're on this call. If you get a replay somehow, somewhere of this call, you weren't meant to be left behind either. The fact that you're on this call means you're not meant to be left behind. There is a solution, and we know for certain that it works. We know that because even though Google changed the way we think, it hasn't changed the way we feel. And the confirmation of that is the tire kickers and the plate lickers invented the 21-point checklist. When we were marketing, guess who we got in front of? Plate lickers, tire kickers. And so guess what we had to invent? Guess what we stumbled on? The thing that gets plate lickers and tire kickers to become clients. And that was the saving grace. Not getting in front of people who weren't plate lickers or tire kickers. We couldn't do that. We looked, we tried. It wasn't happening for us. All we were good at doing is getting in front of plate lickers and tire kickers. But what we stumbled on is this thing that takes plate lickers and tire kickers and turns them into clients. And that's what turned everything around, realizing that we have a tool that will take the plate lickers and tire kickers that we already know how to get in front of, that we already have in our filing cabinet. We're good at getting in front of plate lickers and tire kickers. Let's just embrace it. And let's just use this tool that turns plate lickers and tire kickers into clients and run everybody through it. And so you have that. And we have 50,000 tapes that prove that it still works to this day. See, the 21-point checklist has changed the rules of war so that now we sit on the high ground, because the 21 things on that list all work together to get people to say in their own words, that guy is looking out for himself and not me. And if they say that 4 or 5 times in the meeting, you don't have to get them to say that 21 times. But if they say that 4 or 5 times in the meeting, guess what they'll do? They'll leave him and they'll work with you. If they don't leave him, it's because they didn't say that. Because if they say that, they will leave. The only reason they wouldn't leave is if they didn't say that. But here's the great thing. You can get better and better and better at getting them to say that until you're really good at it. If you have the list and if you have the training on how to use the list the right way. See, eye to eye works to get you in front of more people with money. So if that's your only problem, you have the solution, eye to eye. Because eye to eye will get you in front of more people, and it'll get you in front of people with money. But I have to be honest and tell you, most of them will be plate lickers. Most of them will be tire kickers. They'll come to your office and they'll have money, but they'll be tire kickers. And the 21-point checklist is the only thing that will take a tire kicker and turn them into a client. It's the only thing that will take a plate licker and turn them into a client. So what should you do? What's the next step? Well, 1, sign up for eye to eye, because that'll get you in front of, guaranteed, the people that you need to see with the assets that you need them to have. Guaranteed. But then do the 21-point checklist. That's the only thing that's going to take these people that are tire kickers and turn them into clients. Do the 21-point checklist and record it. And then take advantage of the training that you have to get better at it. Take advantage of Mike and myself and all the people that are willing to help you to nail that meeting and get it right. Those are the things you need to do. And it's not a big list, and it's not a hard list. And when should you do those things? Now. Before the new world, the new reality that's coming, leaves you behind. Because once the train leaves the station, you'll either be on it or you'll be left standing on the platform. And if you're on this call, you're meant to be on the train. You have everything you need to succeed in the new world that's here or the new world that's coming. So don't be discouraged. Just do the thing, learn the tool, use the tool that's been put into your hand to take the people that you're already good at seeing, the tire kickers and the plate lickers, to take the people that you already have in your file cabinet, the tire kickers and the plate lickers, and turn them into clients, people who want to move all of their money to you. All right, so that's it for this call. Again, it's Trish and I in the office. Everybody will be back in the office the Tuesday after Labor Day. But because of the Labor Day weekend coming up, be mindful that we are closing this office at noon on Friday. But we will have the GOTS call on Friday. So if you're in town and you haven't left, plan on being on that. And if you're out of town and you've already left, enjoy the long weekend. It's the last big send-off for the summer, but make sure you catch the replay. So we're here. Feel free to call us with any questions, and we hope you guys have a great week. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks, guys.